Hello everyone, welcome along to another video here on the channel. I'm Brommer, aka Ash, and this is our PES 21 Tactics series, the series where I show you how to recreate and adapt real systems so that they will work in game. We've already covered quite a few tactics, so go and check those ones out if you haven't done so already. We've done Guardiola's Barcelona, we've done Tuchel's Chelsea, Klopp's Liverpool, we've done Southgate's England and Gerrard's Rangers as well. So we've got quite a few for you to really tuck into. If you're new here, then please do give it a like on the video if you enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload. Just one quick housekeeping note before we get into it: don't forget to check out my Jose Mourinho AS Roma Realistic Master League series that is currently ongoing on the channel. Really enjoying that one so far. So if you haven't gone and seen it yet and watched it, then please do go and check that one out after this video. And on that note, let's get into the tactic. So today we have Julian Naglesmann's Bayern Munich tactics, one I've been really excited to get tucked into. He's been very popular on the channel. We did cover his Leipzig team quite a while ago now, and that was on FIFA 20 I think, so that was a really complicated system to do. And that's very much what he's been known for, this sort of innovative, young, fresh approach during his time as Hoffenheim head coach and also Leipzig head coach. Now he's come to Bayern Munich, and you've seen that evolution really play out, because naturally now he's playing with a team who arguably are the best team in the world, and if not, they're certainly 2 or 3. I don't think anyone would argue with the top 3 for Bayern Munich. And so, you know, you're really working with these world-class players. You don't need to innovate as much. You know, you really got to try and get the best out of them and let them sort of innovate themselves, really. So you've seen him sort of take a step back a little bit in terms of that sort of complicated, very unique approach. And the shape is very similar to what we saw under Hansi Flick, with some incremental differences. So first things first, as you can see here, it is essentially a 4-2-3-1, but really we can call this a 4-3-3. It doesn't really matter. What we got here, and you'll see we've got a couple of position changes, is we do have a fluid formation. And for those of you who maybe are new to PES, haven't really experimented with the tactics much, that means that it changes when in possession and when out of possession. So I'm going to go through the positions in those. At kickoff and when in possession are the same. So you'll see, first of all, we actually have Kimmich as defensive midfielder and then Goretzka as central midfielder when in possession. And the reason why is that obviously Goretzka is at his best as that true box-to-box midfielder. He's very all-rounded, got all the physical traits but also technical traits as well. So as a central midfielder, you're going to see him commit a little bit more, particularly with the advanced instructions that we have. We'll talk about them later on. So he's as a central midfielder there and a defensive midfielder. And then with Thomas Müller here, you'll see we've actually got him as a second striker. And the reason for that is, rather than an attacking midfielder, is for that same reason. Thomas Müller, as we know, is renowned for getting in the box, playing as that second striker, really offering that I guess, second goal scoring outlet. And so as a second striker, you're going to see him get into the box more than if he was as his position as an attacking midfielder. So that's really going to help to replicate his role well. You'll see in the gameplay on the right hand side, it did work out very, very well. Particularly in this game, there was quite a few goals early on. So yeah, that does a good job. Now when out of possession, you'll notice there are a couple of changes. The wingers, Coman and Gnabry in this case, who are left and right wingers, when in possession, are now changed to midfielders. And what that does is just going to get them a bit deeper. It's to try and replicate the fact that whilst in possession they're very advanced, they're running behind often, really try and play on the last man and penetrate the defence. When out of possession, they're going to trap back. You know, it's not a case of maybe PSG where you'll see the likes of Neymar and Mbappe, who might be playing on the wings, staying forward. You know, very much in this case, these guys are going to trap back. Now, it's also worth bearing in mind that Bayern Munich shouldn't be losing the ball all that often. They should really be maintaining possession for 65-70% of the time when they're favoured in the game. So they shouldn't be having to do that a whole lot. And also, you'll notice we've got Thomas Müller as attacking midfielder. That is for the same reason. Again, the whole tracking back thing, rather second striker, you'll find him, you know, staying forward a little bit more. So yeah, that is ultimately it for the positions. Now what we can do is we can move on to the tactics. So first things first, let me show you the attacking instructions. With attacking style, we have possession game. I don't really need to go into that too much because we know what Nagelsmann's like. But what this is just going to do briefly is it's going to allow you to, all your players, to really show for the ball in those short central areas. You'll find that they'll still make runs when they need to because of the advanced instructions that we have on. Same build up as well, short pass, they're really going to come close. We don't need to go into that too much. And then attacking area, we have this on centre. And what this is going to do is this is going to make the likes of the wingers, when they are running in behind, and they will, is they're going to come more centrally. Again, they're all going to try and give support to the central guys, Müller, Goretzka, Kimmich, etc. And that's going to allow you to crowd out those central areas. You'll still have space on the wing, as you'll see in the gameplay, because naturally, you know, football is a versatile game and you've got to do both. But very much they are going to try and approach through the centre if they can, to support that possession-based game. With positioning, this is actually unflexible and it's absolutely ideal for replicating the roles of the likes of Thomas Müller, the wingers, and even Lewandowski as well, who sometimes drops around and finds little pockets here and there. What this means is that it's going to be a little bit more free-flowing. You're going to find players roaming a bit more, and for Thomas Müller in particular, that is absolutely ideal because that is what he has been known for so long throughout his career, picking those various positions. No one's ever known what his true position is because he's so good at a range of different positions in lots of areas on the pitch. So this is absolutely ideal for being able to replicate that. With support range, we've already spoken about it just with the whole possession and short passing thing. We've got this on free because then players are really going to look to close down the ball and show those options as much as you can. Again, it just helps you to try and retain possession as much as possible. And speaking of retaining possession, I should also mention that by the end of the game, you'll notice that my players were very tired. More tired than usual because of this real gegenpressing, high intensity, high tempo system that we of course were playing. Now that was really on me. I should have rested in possession a bit more. I should have tried to conserve stamina when I needed to. And it's also worth bearing that in mind when we're talking about this, is to try and rest in possession occasionally, just to try and recuperate stamina for a couple of in-game minutes, and then you can go again and allow your players to really stay fresh as possible throughout the entire game. So that is it for the attacking instructions in. It's all very fun and good. On to the defensive instructions now. First things first, we have frontline pressure. Again, we're looking to replicate that extreme pressing system as much as we can, and that's what Bayern are about. They're going to relentlessly press you, you know, as much as possible. They were like it under Flick, and you know, now Nagelsmann's come, you know, that has been very much the same throughout the start of the season. You know, this isn't going to change. With containment area, you want to shift these out wide, and it's generally the same for the majority of teams. They want to force teams to go around them rather than play through them, because that's much harder. And then they've got to start crossing balls into the box, which, you know, for a lot of teams, they would ideally not like to do that. You know, when you got the likes of Serla, Upamecano, etc. in the middle, really defending those balls. So it just makes it easier for you defensively. With the pressuring, we have this on aggressive. Again, really trying to step in and step into the man as much as possible. Again, they do a good job of, you know, really coaxing the opposition into making those passes that they want them to do, setting traps, as we spoke about in the Chelsea tactics with Tuchel. You know, very much it's a German coaching, really, so intelligent, so well thought out, tactically very, very good. And again, it's the same here, really. With defensive line, this is all the way up to 10, and it has to be said that having someone like Upamecano and Alphonso Davies in your defence is a big help for this, because just incredibly pacey, so fast. It allows you to really push this up, because what I do in a lot of these videos is I'll move this down to 8, and it's still a high line, but it means I'll drop off a couple of yards to really support the fact that, you know, when balls are in behind, played over the top, they'll have a couple of extra yards on that ball. But when you've got, like say, Upamecano and Davis, because they're so quick, you can have this all the way to 10 and still have joy. You know, we were playing Dortmund in the gameplay. They had Haaland. They kept trying to feed him through, but you know, a lot of the time, Upamecano was doing well with that. Alphonso Davies chipped in as well. So that again, really helpful. So do bear that in mind when you are signing players for this tactic. With compactness, this is actually down to 7 rather than, you know, within the 8 to 10 range, which is what it usually is. And that's because what they do try and do, Bayern, is there's a bit more emphasis on trying to stop the cross in the first place. They ultimately want to try and stop the opposition playing in any case. But a lot of teams, when they are compact, obviously, they are sometimes trying to, you know, cut out the spaces in the middle. And as a result, you know, they allow crosses in because of that. Whereas with these, they want to try and do both. Bayern Munich. So it's very much about, you know, filling both roles well. So with this on 7, this just makes it easier to implement that. You know, you can get out to the crosser a little bit more quickly. So that is it for the defensive instructions then. And now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the advanced instructions. First things first, we have attacking fullbacks. Of course, we've seen what Alphonso Davies is like. He is actually naturally a winger, but he's been playing fullback since he's joined Bayern Munich. And so, you know, naturally you want your fullback surging forward. Now, under Flick, you'll find that someone like Pavard was less inclined to do this. He would still do it, but obviously not as much as Alphonso Davies. But under Nagelsmann, what we've seen is that the fullbacks, and Pavard hasn't played that much at the moment as of recording this. It's been sort of rotated between a couple of players. You know, they're much more determined and open to doing that. So very much the fullbacks will get forward, and then what it's going to enable you is for the likes of the wingers to come a little bit more centrally, which helps that possession game, and also it means they'll angle their runs as well. So when they're running in behind, they're really going to try and penetrate those two centre backs as well for the opposition. The second attacking instruction is centering targets, and this is where you'll get players into the box and you can help you score from crosses. So obviously Bayern Munich under Nagelsmann, and in general very versatile. They're going to try and look to play through the thirds when they can. But you have to bear in mind they've still got Lewandowski and they've still got Thomas Müller, and Goretzka as well. So crossing is still a big part of their armoury. And, you know, they've already scored a lot of goals under Nagelsmann from this route. And this is how he does that. Again, it gets Müller into the box more. So really recreates his role. Same with Goretzka as well, as that box-to-box central midfielder. And you'll see in the gameplay, you know, that was also a big part of our armoury as well. So, you know, centering targets enables you to sort of approach the games in that way. On to the defensive instructions. First things first, gegenpress. This just allows you to really reinforce that sort of pressing scheme that we've already spoken about it in the defensive instructions. But again, this just gives you greater emphasis to do that. And it's one of the reasons why, of course, you know, a lot of stamina was drained as well because of that whole pressing. You know, immediately when we're losing the ball, I had 2, 3, 4 players, you know, really crowding out Dortmund a lot of the time to try and win it back. So, you know, also worth bearing that in mind as well. And finally, with the second defensive system, we have counter-target. It means certain forwards will just stay forward, basically, if you'll excuse the repetition there. And we have this on Lewandowski. So basically, just to stop him tracking back at any point, we always want him to be that out ball. And he does a brilliant job of being able to hold the ball up as well. And then the likes of Gnabry and Koeman and Müller will run it with him and give him the support, and then he can, you know, hold it up, lay it off to them, and then you can go from there. So this enables you to do that as well. Just make sure you're not too defensive and don't have anyone to play it out to when you do win the ball back deep in your own defensive third. So that is it for the overall tactics. So, a couple of things that I really point you guys to. First things first is players to join attack. For anyone who doesn't know, this is players that you send up for set pieces, so corners and free kicks as well. If you don't do this, you'll find that your centre-backs don't actually go forward for set pieces. So obviously that would be very frustrating. So just make sure to put the 2 centre-backs and also Goretzka as well if you are playing as Bayern Munich, because you definitely want him in the box. Very physical presence, you know, very strong in the air as well. So these 3 in the box will enable you to carry more threat from set pieces. In terms of the set pieces themselves, what we do is we talk about what tactics you want to put on your set pieces to replicate the team. So with attacking set pieces, there's actually nothing that really enables you to replicate everything, because Bayern Munich do a whole lot of things when it's, say, attacking corners, for example, a lot of movement. I found that either crowding out the box in general or dash were the 2 best options, because naturally you've got so many physical presence that you can really just crowd out the opposition and try and beat them that way. So that's really what we did. We did score from I think it was a set piece of some sort as well. I can't actually remember now. But yeah, trying to crowd out the opposition in the attacking set areas will really enable you to get the best out of them. And then defensively for set pieces and defensive corners in particular, you'll find that Bayern actually generally go zonal. And there might be a couple of blockers in there, but we don't go for mixed because it's not enough to really you know, justify that. So actually going zonal is how you replicate Bayern's, you know, tactics the best set pieces. And you'll find, again, we've spoken about that whole German coaching and philosophy. Again, that's something that you will find in a lot, you know, of sort of German teams and German head coaches' tactics and stuff, that they're very much more zonally orientated on set pieces, and there's a reason for that, because it can very much be more successful if you get it right and execute it right. So go for zonal on defensive corners as well. So that would just about round it off for this episode then, guys. If you've got any questions about the tactic, then please do get at me in the comment section and let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Check out all the links in the description. We've got links to all of my stuff, my custom gaming PC, all the parts for that, all the gear, sort of microphone, headset, keyboard, etc., consoles, all that good stuff. Check out the affiliate links in the description, give me a little kickback, but you won't pay any more, so it's a good way to support the channel. And also follow me on Twitter, the link to that is also in the description. Lots of sort of behind the scenes and extra stuff on there as well that you wouldn't get, you know, just being subscribed to the channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel on top of that as well, and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload. And on that note, we are going to finish it off there. Don't forget to check out my AS Roma Master League series if you haven't done so already. Until next time, I've been Brommer18, and I'll see you soon.